Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Friends, before going into the details of the war, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Please support by subscribing and turning on the notification bell. We are a strong community, said, adding that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman had made a phone call to President Volodymyr Zelensky. The prince emphasized the kingdom's position of supporting everything that will contribute to de-escalation, and the kingdom's readiness to continue the efforts of mediation, SPA reported. Saudi Arabia last month played an unexpected role in facilitating a prisoner of war swap between Moscow and Kyiv. However, the war in Ukraine fueled tensions between Saudi Arabia and the United States after the kingdom largely resisted pressure to ramp up oil production to ease the energy crisis resulting from the conflict. The kingdom has come under growing criticism from Washington after the Saudi-led OPEC group of oil exporters agreed on a drastic production cut with Russia and other allies, which could send energy prices soaring even higher. Washington accused OPEC Plus of aligning itself with Moscow, and on Wednesday, President Joe Biden threatened consequences for Saudi Arabia. Russia lost some 300 troops, 14 APCs, 5 tanks, 7 artillery pieces on October 15, Ukraine's General Staff, according to the 16th of October morning assessment by the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Russia lost a total of approximately 65,000 troops amid its invasion of Ukraine that had started on the 24th of February with 300 Russian troops Kyiv on the 15th of October alone. The staff's estimation of the Russian losses of equipment are as follows: tanks, 2,529, plus 5 on October 15, armored personnel vehicles, 5,193, plus 14, artillery systems, 1,589, plus 7, MLRS, 365, plus 0, anti-aircraft warfare systems, 186, plus 0, aircraft, 268, plus 0, helicopters, 242, plus 0, operational tactical level UAVs, 1,224, plus 14, cruise missiles, 316, plus 0, warships, boats, 16, plus 0, vehicles and fuel tanks, 3,959, plus 8, special equipment, 143, plus 1. On the 15th of October, the Russian forces suffered the greatest losses in the Kryvyi Rih and Bakhmut directions, according to Ukraine's General Staff. Russia-Ukraine war. Russia hits power site in Kyiv. Heavy fighting in annexed regions of southern Ukraine that Russian President Vladimir Putin illegally annexed have come under more heavy fighting overnight NZ time as Ukrainian soldiers pressed a ground campaign to recapture one, and Russian forces exploded long-range missiles and Iranian-made drones in another. A missile strike also seriously damaged a key energy facility in Ukraine's capital region, the country's grid operator said. Following mounting setbacks, the Russian military has worked to cut off power and water in far-flung populated areas while also fending off Ukrainian counterattacks in occupied areas. Dmytro Pasishchuk, a hospital medic in the Zaporizhzhia region's capital who has treated dozens of people wounded during Russian attacks in recent weeks, said people sought safety outdoors or in his building's basement when the familiar blast started at 5:15 a.m. on Saturday local time. If Ukraine stops, these bombings and killings will continue. We can't give up to the Russian Federation, Pasishchuk said several hours later. He put a small Ukrainian flag on the broken windshield of his heavily damaged car. Russia has lost ground in the nearly 7 weeks since Ukraine's armed forces opened their southern counteroffensive. This week, the Kremlin launched what is believed to be its largest coordinated air and missile raids since Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February 24. Kyiv Region Governor Oleksiy Kuleba said the missile that hit a power site on Saturday morning didn't kill or wound anyone. Citing security, Ukrainian officials didn't identify the site, one of many infrastructure targets the Russian military tried to destroy after an October 8 truck bomb explosion damaged the bridge that links Russia to the annexed Crimean Peninsula. Ukrainian electricity transmission company Ukrenergo said repair crews were working to restore electricity service, but warned residents about further possible outages. Kyrylo Tymoshenko, the deputy head of the Ukrainian president's office, urged residents of the capital and 3 neighboring regions to conserve energy. Putin may hope that by increasing the misery of the Ukrainian people, President Volodymyr Zelensky may be more inclined to negotiate a settlement that allows Russia to retain some stolen territory in the east or Crimea, said Ian Williams, a fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a policy organization based in Washington. A quick look at history shows that the strategic bombing of civilians is an ineffective way to achieve a political aim. This week's wide-ranging retaliatory attacks, which included the use of self-destructing explosive drones from Iran, killed dozens of people. The strikes hit residential buildings as well as infrastructure such as power stations in Kyiv, Lviv in western Ukraine, and other cities that had seen comparatively few strikes in recent months. Putin said on Friday that Moscow didn't see a need for additional massive strikes, but his military would continue selective ones. He said that of 29 targets the Russian military planned to knock out in this week's attacks, 7 weren't damaged and would be taken out gradually. The Institute for the Study of War, a think tank based in Washington, interpreted Putin's remarks as intended to counter criticism from pro-war Russian bloggers who largely praised the resumption of strikes against Ukrainian cities, but warned that a short campaign would be ineffective. In the Zaporizhzhia region, Governor Alexander Starik said the Russian military carried out strikes with kamikaze drones from Iran and long-range S-300 missiles. Some experts said the Russian military's use of the surface-to-air missiles might reflect shortages of dedicated precision weapons for hitting ground targets. The neighboring Kherson region, one of the first areas of Ukraine to fall to Russia after the invasion and which Putin also illegally designated as Russian territory last month, remained the focus of a Ukrainian counteroffensive. Kyiv's army has reported recapturing 75 villages and towns there in the last month, but said the momentum had slowed, with the fighting settling into the sort of grueling back and forth that characterized Russia's months-long offensive to conquer Ukraine's eastern Donbas region. On Saturday, Ukrainian troops attempted to advance south along the banks of the Dnieper River toward the regional capital, also named Kherson, but didn't gain any ground, according to Kirill Stremisov, a deputy head of the occupied region's Moscow-installed administration. The defense lines worked, and the situation has remained under the full control of the Russian army, he wrote on his messaging app channel. The Kremlin-backed local leaders asked civilians on Thursday to leave the region to ensure their safety and to give Russian troops more maneuverability. Stremisov reminded them they could evacuate to Crimea and cities in southwestern Russia, where Moscow offered free accommodations to residents who agreed to leave. Major General Igor Konashenkov, the Russian Defense Ministry's spokesman, said the military destroyed 5 crossings on the Inhulets River, another route Ukraine's fighters could take to progress toward the Kherson region. Konashenkov claimed Russian troops also blocked Ukrainian attempts to make inroads in breaching Russian defenses near Lyman, a city in the annexed Donetsk region of eastern Ukraine that the Ukrainians retook 2 weeks ago in a significant defeat for the Kremlin. To the north and east of Kherson, Russian shelling killed 2 civilians in the Dnipropetrovsk region, Governor Valentin Reznichenko said. He said the shelling of the city of Nikopol, which is located across the Dnieper from the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, damaged a dozen residential buildings, several stores and a transportation facility. Fighting near the nuclear plant, Europe's largest, has been an ongoing concern during the nearly 8-month war. The power station temporarily lost its last remaining outside electricity source twice in the past week, fueling fears the reactors could eventually overheat and cause a catastrophic radiation leak. International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Grossi reported that such fears were somewhat eased late on Friday, because Ukrainian engineers had managed after several weeks to restore backup power lines that can serve as a buffer in case of further war-related outages. Working in very challenging conditions, operating staff at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant are doing everything they can to bolster its fragile off-site power situation, Grossi said. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.